My granddaughter wants to go there because she likes animals, and I keep putting her off. The minute I go, it'd be 100 down there.
Well, it's pretty shady. We had a good time. The kids had a good time. It's obviously smaller than the zoo, but it's a little more interactive. You know, there's a little parakeet house. Kids thought birds were landing on our heads. The kids thought that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
One, you know, pooped in my hair, which of course my sons really loved.
That's hilarious, yeah.
They really loved that.
Oh, yeah.
The zoo is getting pretty interactive.
It is, yeah. There, you know, there's.
And then not Grant's Farm, what's the other one? The Botanical Gardens.
Uh-huh.
They have like classes and stuff.
Yeah, they've got that playground area that is huge. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun
There's a
there.
lot of energy there.
Need my kids to go
Oh,
with me. I just
you're
want to
right.
go play on the playground. Here.
Oh, he is.
Hey, what's up?
I figured he would be online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Mr. Man in Blue,
Man in blue.
Man in Blue.
The boy's blue, huh?
Right at 5:30.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
All right. Call a meeting to order. Can I get a roll call vote?
All right, Councilman Sachsen-Hannah,
Here.
Councilman Cleveland,
Here.
Councilwoman and Mayor Campbell. How do I address? Yeah, I'm
President
sorry.
Pro Tem.
President Pro Tem Campbell.
Here.
Pause moment. Councilwoman Bugger.
Here.
Councilman Nelson.
Present.
Councilman Evans.
Present.
All right, we have a comment.
Hi, it's Tony. Can I get
Aye.
a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion.
Second.
Agenda is approved. Okay, so the first item is a discussion of duties and authority of President Pro Tem of the City Council. So I asked Andy to talk about this. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page as to like what my job would entail and then what I was allowed to do and what I was not allowed to do because I don't want to be on the news. So, and just so also there's no confusion about like when it comes to voting and duties and also like what, that it's not like this, I didn't know you could do that or can't you do that? Yeah, no surprises. So Andy's gonna lead that discussion. for
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Thank you, Councilwoman. So, I guess, yeah, as Councilwoman Campbell said, the goal here is to just kind of give everyone an overview of what the mayor's powers are, because the duties and obligations of the mayor are going to be exercised by the President Pro Tem in the absence of a mayor. And so we don't want anyone to, when there are going to be some things that you might be a little surprised at, and so we want people to just be aware that these powers exist and that this is a totally legitimate thing to do before we are in the heat of a contentious policy discussion. And we're going to focus mostly on the statutes rather than the actual provisions of the code, because the provisions of the code are, you know, those that are authorized by the statutes. Okay, so, and actually, let me just pull some stuff up. I apologize. I was not fully prepared here before the baton got passed on. 77070 of the Missouri statutes says that, you know, the council shall elect a president pro tem, And in the absence of the mayor, that president pro tem presides at the meetings of the council. So where the mayor previously was keeping track of Robert's rules and calling motions and basically chairing the meeting, the president pro tem will be doing that. So then we have $77,240. You don't need to take notes. There won't be a quiz at the end of this. Provides that in the absence of the mayor or the disability to perform the duties of their office, the president pro tem of the council shall perform the duties of the mayor. And so one thing to note, and during the time the president pro tem of the council shall act as mayor, the president pro tem shall receive the same compensation that the mayor would be entitled to. So I also did a little research on this and looked at some AG opinions and some cases discussing the questions of a lot of the cases and stuff that I looked at have to do with the questions of voting powers, which we'll get to, but I think some of the same analysis applies to the compensation. Basically, the president pro tem, it serves a dual role, right? They will be representing their ward as a council person, and they will also be acting, exercising the duties of the mayor. And so for that reason, there's kind of a double compensation because it's double duty, right? So that's one aspect of this. So then, just so everybody knows what the timeline is here, in St. Louis County, in case of a vacancy other than a temporary absence or disability, which is what we have, the person exercising the office of mayor, the pro tem, shall cause a new election to be held. There will be a new election to hold a mayor. By we, I mean Sam and I have been discussing this with the St. Louis County Board of Elections, and given that the current term of office for Mayor Beckman, or the mayor currently, expires in April of '25, and given the timeline that it takes to basically organize a special election, organize declarations of candidacy, there's a very real possibility that we would not be able to even have a special election until January, at which point we would already have to have candidates declaring for April before we even have the special election. So because the statute does not give us a precise timeline, in conversation with the County Board of Election, everybody agreed, let's just go through to April, and that's when the term ends anyway. If the term was ending in April of '26, that's a different story, right? But we're so close to the end of this term that we're just gonna push through, and a new mayor will be elected. Whoever that is, everyone who wants to can throw their hat in the ring and meets the qualifications, and we'll have a regular election for the position of mayor. Are there any questions about that? Okay. So, under 77-250, again, the mayor is the president of the council and shall preside over the same, but shall not vote except in case of a tie. And of course, he shall have no power to vote in cases where he's an interested party, but that applies that applies to anybody, right? If you have an interest in a vote, you can't vote regardless. But, so, the mayor shall not vote except in case of a tie. So let's think that through, right? If there's a tie, it's 4-4, and the president pro tem is exercising the duties of the mayor, does the president pro tem get to make a second vote to break the tie? Missouri law says yes, right? There is very clear authority on that point. So I just want everyone to be aware that could happen if there is a tie. Pro Tem Campbell will be able to break that tie. So there is also under 77-270 provides that the mayor may veto ordinances, right? And may also veto resolutions which call for or contemplate expenditures of revenues. So again, exercising the duties of the mayor implies that the pro tem can veto, right? So if there is disagreements over some particular ordinance, pro tem Campbell does have the authority to to veto that item. So, those are kind of the big, especially the veto and the kind of the tie-breaking power, those are the ones I wanted to make sure everybody knew about beforehand, so that no one is surprised. When's the last time we even had a tie? It happens rarely. I guess we did. Maybe we had a tie on a
It's like every
resolution.
single meeting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we do have a lot of ties. You're right.
Every
Well,
other.
I wouldn't say every meeting, but I don't know. The point is, we wanted to, have a conversation about this before it was, in the middle of a meeting, and then I'm popping out with, oh, by the way, there's a tie breaking power. So, of course, there are lots of other authorities and powers of the mayor. No need to go into those, except that it's just generally presiding over the affairs of the city. They have general kind of superintending power over the employees of the city, but as with Mayor Beckman, and with every other mayor, we have a city administrator form of government, and so Sam really handles all of that on the day-to-day basis, and the mayor, or the pro tem, really kind of serves to, as an oversight power, almost to make sure that, essentially, that the city staff and officials are executing the ordinances adopted by the council in the way that the council intended them to do so. So I don't expect there to be any major disruptions here. Like, things should be able to keep on kind of trucking as they have been. And yeah, if anyone has any questions for me, I'd be happy. Any particular questions? If you dive into the code and you find some particular ordinance that you have a question about, I'm always available, happy to answer it. But that's really the gist of it.
But again, the council as a whole, I mean, the mayor can has veto power over things, but the council as a whole still is the overarching authority.
Of course, yeah, because and that occurs whether there's whoever the mayor always has the power to veto, and then 2/3 of the council can override the veto, right? So let's just say there was a scenario where it's like 6-2, right? And Pro Tem Campbell is in the minority and decides to veto that, right? The council could overrule that veto, right? I can't even imagine she would exercise that veto because she knows exactly what's going to happen and why cause the kerfuffle, So, yeah, there's no change in the powers here. It's all the same powers. It's just there's a kind of a funky little nuance there when you have the council person exercising the mayor's powers as well.
Yeah, so the human being, Yolanda, gets 2 votes, one as council person, one as mayor.
In the event of a tie.
Over time. Only as a
Well, there can't be a tie if she doesn't get the vote.
Well, but she does, so there's...
Well, we go around as the council people first, and
Right.
like if it's 4-4.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So if there's a 4-4, if there's a
Oh, yeah,
4-4
that-
tie, then
yeah.
she breaks the tie.
Got it.
Also, she's still in charge of the agenda for the meeting.
Absolutely, yes. That's one of the mayoral
Her
powers.
only, her only.
Setting the agenda, correct.
Right, and if there's 2 board members that call to maybe put some on the agenda, that can happen, right?
Yeah, that's, let me find the exact
Numbers.
section of the code, but I believe it is 2, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I remember.
Well, and actually, the most recent version of the ordinance isn't on E-code, so I'd have to...
I think the new
I thought
laws.
it was-
Oh, is it under new laws?
Yeah,
Okay.
they did
That's-
that. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's.
But yeah, I believe it is 2. I can find it if we want to absolutely know. Yeah, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Sorry, I feel like now we're getting off track a little here.
I think it's 24 hours before a board meeting, or is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to necessarily read through all of this right now, but
Yeah.
Councilman, if you are still interested in that exact number, I can find that for you when we're not just sitting here holding, I
Right,
can-
oh, yeah, just
Yeah.
get it, and 24 hours before the board meeting.
Well, for the agenda to be posted?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, and that's a sunshine law
Right.
issue.
But the
Absolutely.
amendments, okay, so we get in here and there's a vote to approve the agenda. can we approve an agenda as amended at that time?
Yes, so the sunshine law, and we're kind of getting into different questions here, but this is a great opportunity to talk about that stuff. So the sunshine law, what it requires is that the tentative
Got
agenda
it.
be posted 24 hours in advance. So the agenda can be changed. There, you have to basically have a good reason to do so. But the agenda can be amended and items added or removed at the time of the meeting. Of course, you're going to run into issues if you try to amend the agenda to add an ordinance that was not on the, because then I'm going to have to sit here and read it in full rather than by title only. And, you might not be, there might be other statutory requirements for certain actions that might not be met. But, yeah.
I mean, like notice given for things.
Absolutely, right, yeah.
Another question.
Sure.
If we're having a meeting and there's a problem or a situation that occurs, a board member can make a motion to go into closed session, if he gets a second and the vote to.
So the closed session really, in an ideal world, if you have an idea that you want to talk about something, or if anyone has an idea that they have something they want to talk about in closed session, they should contact the mayor or the pro tem.
No, I mean
24 hours.
during a regular meeting, a board meeting.
Like if something pops up and you
Yeah.
want to have, again, theoretically, yes, because the agenda is only tentative.
Right.
And if something needed to be added, like if something comes up, some legal question comes up about an ordinance we're discussing.
Right.
Technically, yes, you can amend the agenda to add a closed session for legal, right, at the end of the meeting. Best practice is if you know there's gonna be something you wanna talk about, make sure it's on the agenda, so that people know we're gonna go into a closed session, we're gonna talk about a legal matter, or we're gonna talk about a negotiated contract, or whatever the reason for the closure is. But again, if there's some sort of compelling reason, and you can kind of articulate the compelling reason,
Yeah, because I recall once, there was a situation that came up during the board meeting, and there was a motion right then to go into closed session, right then, and they got a second, and they got a vote to go in, and the people who were here sitting had to wait.
well, that is, I don't think that's proper, so.
You mean like in the middle of the
It
meeting
was in the middle of a meeting.
to
Yeah.
stop you would have to have a motion first to
Yeah, it was.
See,
close the meeting.
See, that's the thing, and that's where it gets a little technical.
Yeah.
The way I understand it, and different attorneys are gonna view this differently, but the way I understand it is technically the closed meeting, it's technically a separate meeting, right? And that's why you close and adjourn
So I have to adjourn the regular.
this meeting, right? But if you're adjourning the regular meeting to go into an impromptu closed session and then coming back, you are now holding a separate meeting that you have not properly noticed under the
Okay,
sunshine
gotcha,
law,
gotcha.
right?
Okay,
So that's not proper.
That's not good,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, because.
That's why we wait either closed session, if you know you need a closed session, you could, I've done closed sessions at the beginning of a meeting, right? I mean, that's sometimes proper, if you're gonna be voting on an
I
ordinance, you
think,
know
I
there's a
think that's
legal
what it
question.
was. I'm
you know.
sorry, I think that's
I
what it
will
was.
say that I have, with Mayor Beckman, I've called him ahead of time and told him I have something that I want to talk about in closed session,
Before the meeting.
before the meeting.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, but I want everyone to hear what I'm saying at one time, like I don't want to say it to you and this
Right.
other people. So I said, I need you to put it on.
Did
And
you-
I said it was about, I didn't say exactly what, I was like, but it's a personnel thing and
Got it,
everything.
right.
And then he knew that it was a personnel thing and that's,
And it occurred
but
after
that's
the
the,
meeting.
right, but that was the only thing I could talk about. I couldn't talk about like the house, like
Right.
the funeral home. I had to stick to that
Gotcha.
and everything. But if you call before and say like, I want to talk about this, it's a personnel issue, then it just, we'll put it on the
Okay.
agenda.
Only one person, but it has to be two councilmen or one?
I've gotta look at that,
Okay, we'll talk
yeah,
about it.
well,
I
I
I'm
thought it
happy-
was one, I just called him and told him.
Well, I
And
mean,
he-
if you,
yeah.
if you
There's-
convince the mayor and the mayor puts it on
Yeah.
the agenda.
I
then-
just called him and
Then all
told him,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if the mayor's not against it, then two people.
Yeah, I've gotta
make it.
dig in. What's popping out at me right now is at the request of the mayor, one or more members of the council, an item of business shall be removed from the consent agenda, but that's
Oh,
not,
that's it.
that's not what you're talking about, right?
Okay.
So, I've gotta do a little more digging. I don't know it off the top of my head, but
Okay,
I'll let you know, council member. I'll look into it.
all right.
Anybody else?
Unless you're trying to add something to the agenda right now, and that's why you're asking.
All right, old business. Council Bill number 24-13, second reading. So this is the council bill that we had the first reading on at the last regular meeting about the
Correct.
stopping the payment for,
Stopping payment on, right now there are automatic withdrawals.
Yeah.
Simmons Make is making automatic withdrawals on the account for the promissory note that we're challenging. We did a first reading, we did do a second reading. I opined at the time that an abstention, there was one abstention and 7 ayes to have the second reading. You'll recall that the code requires a unanimous consent. You know, did a little more research, even though I opined at the time that the abstention kind of counted as an acquiescence. To be safe, I would rather just have the second reading. I think there's, you know, it's kind of an unclear area of law, but I think best practice would be to have a second reading here at the at an additional meeting and to adopt this ordinance tonight.
all right. So,
So what we need is a motion
Yeah.
to have the second, so moved.
I gotta read it first. though.
Oh,
Well, motion second, then you'll read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you motion?
okay.
Council Bill number 24-13, an ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, repealing ordinance number 2021-007, and authorizing city officials to take actions necessary to terminate further payment on the void promissory note with Simmons Bank dated November 6, 2020. So now I need a,
Then we
Yes.
we just need a well, I guess we had a
Discussion.
motion for a second. Well, we can have a discussion, yeah.
need a discussion. All right, have we get a motion?
So moved.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Who was first?
That's
That was
Tony.
Tony's second.
Who was the
Can
first?
he do that without being on the screen?
Oh, yeah, can he?
As long as it's not a roll call.
Yeah, but we will need to see your face for a roll
And
call,
he
Tony.
is.
Right there.
Yeah, he's on the Golden Gate.
Oh, I can see it, sure, okay. Man, well, now you disappeared, there he goes, okay. He went under the water, yeah.
Roll call. All right, we got a first and a second, I need a roll call vote.
Okay, Councilman Goodson?
Yes.
Yes, okay, Councilman Stocksenheimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zaire?
Yes.
Mayor Campbell,
I thought that was Councilwoman Shivers.
Is that Ms. Shivers?
She's not on video.
yeah, I've been on since 5:33.
Good.
Oh, we didn't see your name.
Yeah, I'm
So
here.
sorry. Next time I'll be sure
Turn on
to.
the camera.
Councilwoman Shivers, so under the sunshine law, when there's a roll call vote, we have to be able to see your face. So you can vote on a voice vote if you're on the phone, but if we can't see your face, then you're gonna have to be marked as, I guess an abstention. Does that make sense? As much as anything about the
It
sunshine
does.
law makes sense? Okay.
Do you have video?
No, I don't, but I am present, so, I did let, Mr. Johnson know as well.
You should be able to vote on other things on the agenda. It's just this item. So, is there, yeah.
It's gonna pass anyway.
Who was,
Do we get?
did we get
Oh,
everybody?
I'm sorry, Councilman Evans.
He voted.
No, Tony didn't vote.
I don't think Tony voted.
Councilman Evans?
Where's he at?
Yes.
Okay. Are you in favor?
Are you voting
Yes.
yes? Okay. Motion passed.
We're getting back to the days of COVID when everyone was virtual and these meetings were crazy.
Resolution number? Is this a resolution number?
Oh, I'm sorry, ordinance number 814.
All right. The second item, resolution 24-21, a resolution of the city of Normandy awarding a bid for single-family solid waste collection services and authorizing city officials to execute a contract on behalf of the city of Normandy with the winning bidder. So this is our trash service contract, so we have to pick between Meridian, Republic, and Waste Management. And then, if you look, there's a single sheet of paper, where, the Republic Services representative basically gave us a outline of the billing and collection procedures, so everybody could see how that works out. If someone's late with the trash service, it goes into, and things like that. So, the other thing that I noted in talking, I will tell you guys in talking to the representative, Suzanne, trash cans, in the event that it does go into collections, and correct me if I'm wrong, they will be collected. So if someone does not pay their trash bill and it goes into collections, they will come and take their trash cans.
So, correct, there's a suspend time where we give them time to get caught up, they keep their cans, but once there's no response after the collection process, then we schedule the carts to get removed, and then they'll get redelivered once the count is back in the street.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How do you remove it? Do you just go on their property to remove it?
Well, it has to be visible from the street, but there's a separate route that picks up carts. But yeah, I mean, we're not gonna go in their backyard or in their garage, so a lot of times, to your point, we can't remove them.
Okay.
I found a house today that's been closed for 6 years, and the county enforcement's like, I got some old carts on the backyard, you know, it's like, they haven't had them for 6 years. So, if we can, right, we remove them, and that's just, right, to kind of help them when they get back on track, right? And a lot of times, if the carts are still in place and setting out, the driver will inadvertently grab them, and then they're not paying, but their neighbor is, you know, so to keep it. But they'll get redelivered once the account's back.
Any more questions?
So, excuse me, if we see cans out like in front of somebody's house for 2 weeks and they've been out there for 2 weeks and haven't been picked up, we can assume that that's a suspended account?
No, I mean, they could be out of town and just not setting the trash
No,
out.
the trash and the trash cans have been out.
I mean, that would be something like, I work closely with like code enforcement, officers or whoever's designated, right, to enforce the trash ordinance in the city. I work closely with St. Louis County on the 4 of 8 districts we manage, and they'll send me addresses and I'll let them know if there's a valid account there. So we don't assume.
Okay.
That cart route only goes where we tell them to go. They don't just circle around looking, you know, so.
No, I'm just asking about the trash being out there so if you, at what point do you communicate with code enforcement that these people haven't paid their bills, or do you ever do that?
We can do there's a couple of ways, okay? We can communicate with a report, we can pull it at your request or on a cadence, like a monthly cadence, saying, here's who is on suspend,
Okay.
okay? We don't pull carts when they're on suspend, they're just in that grace period to get back, you know, some.
But you're not picking up the trash while they're suspended? Okay.
should
That's
not be.
the
Should not
point of
be.
communication. I think that once somebody gets suspended, code enforcement needs to hear about
Exactly,
it. Okay.
exactly, yep. Yep.
And just to clarify, right now, we actually have both of these guys, just Republican, Glen Echo, and then Waste Management in
Right.
Normandy. And I've gotten suspend lists from both of them, and we forward that on to code enforcement, and
Okay.
notices go out. So-
All right.
Any more, wait, I'm sorry, is that?
Yeah, this is Todd from Waste
Oh,
Management.
okay.
Yeah.
This is the Waste Management representative, just so everyone knows. So, we have one from, if you guys want to ask him any questions.
Waste management. Yes. Okay, so we've had a problem on Ward 2 My name is Councilman Jackson, Kevin Jackson. And we contact you guys this week, I think Monday, the same street, Santa Monica, San Diego, San Bernardino. This is probably the 4th or 5th time this year they haven't been picked up. And it's kind of frustrating because it's like, is there a reason why? I've heard this week that they even came down the street and came back up because they weren't waiting. Went down the street, came around, then picked up my truck, trash up. I go through my ward every Monday when I get off work about 4:30, just to see. And that's the area that we always miss. We did get some positive information from Sam and an email from you guys, which I do appreciate moving forward. But the service, it wasn't like we expected. And it's to a point where one day I came out and I got an elderly lady, 90-some years old, across the street. I tried to, it was a holiday, we didn't know they was picking up on the holiday. I tried to run over and get her trash, we just drove by. So, I think we can work a little bit better. For the most part, I think the service wasn't that bad. Speaking with the residents, because I've been asking for the last month, and talking to some of the people in other areas, Beverly Hills and Pass Republic, and they wasn't satisfied. So I don't know much about Meridian. So if we had to go right now, I'm leaning with Waste Management. I think we have communication with them. Seems like we had the communication this week was really good, the way I see it. So.
And if I may, thank you for that. I can actually address that street. Okay. But before I do that, I'd like to address to everybody that I've acknowledged that we've had service issues in the past. It's not Waste Management's fault, it's the representative you had before. And that's not me throwing him under the bus, it's reality. I deal in reality. His communication or lack thereof of the issues, the problems, weren't getting passed up. So when there's no communication, it's open for issues. Right? Regarding Santa Monica, San Diego, and San Bernardino, I drove that Monday or Tuesday, after you guys called that in. And you saw my communication, we finally got out that night. Unacceptable. The reason is that there's a low wire on San Bernardino. Okay? So it takes a special truck to service the streets because it's one way.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they didn't have the truck available on Monday.
Okay.
So that's been the challenge there, and this is me first hearing about it.
Okay.
Is that low wire that runs in San Bernardino.
Okay.
So any of us who have a big truck, you can't go down there, right? So I can see where they saw a truck going by, right? Because if you look at our route, the truck literally just drives right by there and then goes to the next street out. So we corrected that.
Okay. So where's that wire, the low wire?
So as you turn right on San Bernardino from Santa Monica to San Diego, it's right there. It's just, it's looping right down in the middle of the street.
Okay.
Do we know whose wire it is?
Well, that's what we're gonna
Yeah.
investigate. We'll try to look into that.
Is that an Amber wire or?
Yeah.
So I have a question. What is the solution, to bring a smaller truck in, or?
Yes, to make sure that we always have a smaller truck in. And then the other part is the communications to me that we're not gonna be able to service that, so that I can proactively let you know what's going on instead of reactive. And again, I can't say this enough, that's the difference between me and my predecessor. My job is to be proactive and make this as least concerning as possible. And when it becomes reactive, as it has been, that's where the issue comes.
Okay. Well, like again, by you responding and by you going down, and we really do appreciate you going by there, taking a drive. And I visited some of my residents today and let them know that they should be receiving the credit for a week.
Absolutely,
And we'd like to hear that.
absolutely.
If
And
we
I'm
have
always,
a problem,
yeah,
it should be, the citizens shouldn't have to be, they should be taken care of. The citizens shouldn't have to sit back and wait for their trash and not be compensated, so we do appreciate that.
correct, and you'll find that from me on that as well. Anybody who gets missed, I'm happy to issue them credit back for it because they didn't get service for that week. They shouldn't have to pay for it.
Sounds good.
How long you been with the company, sir?
3 months, 7 days, and a few, 12 hours.
That's long enough, you made probation.
I made probation. I actually made probation, yeah. They even said,
Well,
great fellow.
the concerns that I have with waste management, 3.5 years, is that how long the contract?
From what I've seen, it's been since December of 22.
December 22, yeah, the consistency of, my problem was, the citizens call me constantly about trash. And the consistency of not picking up trash was the only problem we had. The first month, 2 months, it's like you serenaded us with three workers, nice truck, everything, and they were working, getting it done. And then after we pretty much finalized the contract, it's like they fell off and just brought us one truck, one driver. And it took them all day, 2 or 3 days to do one job. And they just left a lot of trash, a lot of people, and I got a lot of calls. So, like you said, you just got there, and you coming in and trying to clean up a mess that we've had for some time. So that was my concern, was just like, I got calls from 2, just like Councilman speaking about, Ward 2, I got calls at Monday that the trash didn't get picked up. And you've been with us 2.5 years or something like that, and that shouldn't happen.
No, should not, absolutely.
That shouldn't happen. So that's the only thing I got to say.
And I appreciate that, and I do wanna state this. Again, I wasn't here, but my understanding is we took over the service that the city used to offer. Is that correct? Right? So we came in an emergency situation and took over, okay? As the outsider coming in and hearing and seeing the issues, and I'm openly admitting this to everybody, what's clear to me is that the routing and the understanding of all the houses on the routes and putting that into a system just didn't get done like it should. Okay. So, again, that's why I'm here.
Better communication always works.
Always.
You always sometimes have that one person that in a position at the job, when I work for Boeing, and it happens every day. So we're just looking to move forward, and we're looking to work with whoever. We're just showing you our complaints. We don't know if you're gonna be the finalist, but we're glad that you at least came and responded. And it just so happened we had an issue this week, so you had to address that. And again, we appreciate that.
That's my job.
Well, let me speak to communication, because you brought it up with both companies. I see here that you start with collection calls, and I imagine your process is not unlike this one. How do you know you've got the right numbers for all these people?
That's a great question.
Yeah, we're relying on either information provided by the city or just through communication if they call in to say, hey, I need a card exchange, or hey, have a question about service, then we capture their phone number at that time. But yeah, that's part and parcel.
And we're both in this boat, right?
Yeah.
Whenever a new tenant comes into town, do they have to get a permit?
They should, yes.
Okay, so typically, they provide the information on the permit, phone
Right.
number, right? When you set up a new account, new pickup, we load all that information in.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's important, again, you don't mind reading,
Yeah, no.
is that's the important part of when we can't make a delivery for a day, right? Both organizations.
Got it, yes.
Eat, whatever, that the phone calls can be made to the proper people.
Call them all, call blast.
So then that responsibility for keeping the information up to date, and when you contact City Hall about issues, the ability for City Hall to communicate that to residents becomes key.
Yeah,
Should you
absolutely.
use like a social media platform to say, hey, just a reminder, tomorrow's a holiday, you know, trash will be delayed one day, you know, services will be, so it's always helpful, you know, to communicate to the municipality.
And if I may, perfect example, and you were alluding to it before about what if somebody's service is turned off.
Right.
Something along those lines. So I may call in Sam and say, hey, you got an issue with this location, or you provide an issue to me. Is Mary Joseph the one that's still living there? And Sam will say, well, no, it's so-and-so, right? Well, now that's obviously our time to step in and update the information from that standpoint. Because there are tenants that just go,
Right.
without notifying.
And they have cell phones that they change all the time.
And that could,
So, yeah, I think that's an ongoing issue, and that's probably gonna be an ongoing issue. Sorry. Yeah, I think that how we keep the data in the city database, how we update that data, how we communicate that data to you all. Now, it's my understanding that the city gets downloads from the St. Louis County website about who the owners are on a periodical basis. How often do we do that download?
I think they update it quarterly, but yeah, that's just gonna tell you
Who owns it?
who owns it and what their mailing address is.
Right, because
But
that, go ahead.
And yeah, and I think what they're talking about is using the city's communication network, or whatever you wanna call it, our list of phone numbers and email list to communicate.
Yeah, that's what they are talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm adding the added dimension of when there are changes. One of the things that we have to do is we have to make owners responsible for their tenants. We have to make sure that that data that we get, because, you know, stuff, 3 months is a long time to wait for updates. And so if there is data that can be downloaded earlier and that communication can happen, because I think that's one of the weakest points that we have in a lot of things that we do is how the information gets out in what form.
Yeah, well, and I should be clear, when we know a house sells, and we usually, if it goes through a title company, we know it sells, we update
Right.
the ownership information. But I don't share that with the waste collector. If I did that, I'd be sending,
Yeah.
2-3 emails a day about a single address, so.
But the new county ordinance also makes the owner ultimately responsible for that waste bill. Now, we have some customers, like I had a resident in Pagedale went on suspend because the landlord wasn't paying her bill. She said, so we went, put him in collections, got approved from the city to set up an account for her, pay for it. I need trash, I have 3 kids, you know? So there's a kind of a lot of nuances to your point, especially if it's a higher rental area, where there.
Which
there
is
can
a
be
lot in the first and second wards where we've had a lot of issues. There is a higher percentage of rental property in those areas. So I'm just trying to figure out a way that with either way that we go, we can figure out, is there some legal reason that we don't give the owner's information to the waste management companies?
No, I just don't think it's super practical. But I'll tell you, like, what I think is important for people getting their information changed over when there is a change is the waste company effectively shutting off service. Because when they shut off service, then
it's on the homeowner or the tenant or someone to, okay, they didn't pick up the trash, so now we need to call and get this fixed, and then they can call and update all their information and get their account set up. And also when new people move in, we also, we hand out a FAQ about the trash service and how to get your account set up and all that.
But the law says that the owner is legally responsible for trash. The new law.
Well, and yeah, our ordinances provide that. I mean, we can
Yeah.
hold both of them responsible if we want to, but.
Yeah, but I'm thinking this, that if at the initial time, I mean, because you're gonna create a database one way or the other, and it's just more stuff that goes in there. If the owner is legally responsible for the removal of trash, the owner needs to know that it's not being done, or there's a big loophole in there. And I think in rental properties in particular, or with just new people moving in and don't know what they're supposed to do, that would be a helpful kind of set of information if we could download that information from the county website a little bit more quickly and then send it out to other parts.
Well, it's not, it's how often the county updates the information, but, I mean, yeah, the way it's effectively done now is we get the cutoff list from them, or people call when their service has been cut off, and then we can let the person there know that they need to call the trash company to get set up, or we can even let the trash company know, hey, this is no longer the owner or no longer the tenant.
Would the trash companies be willing to send out a letter to new owners? Is that within the scope?
What we,
So
I'm thinking of the city of Pagedale, which is one of we started that just over a year ago. And there was a lot of confusion with getting some accounts set up and the information we had, so they set it up where every account originates at City Hall. I mean, we've got our initial list, but then anybody coming in has to get an occupancy permit or whatever is needed. And
then they let you know.
And then they send a form, and it has, hey, senior discount, 6 cards. They send that, City Hall sends that to us. Now, if somebody from Pagedale were just to call Republic, the direction is go to City Hall.
Got it.
So whoever could, whatever hall
Yeah,
that's
it's just a
work
matter
with your
of
city and
okay.
set up if you want to do something different, or if you want to just firm
I'm
up
just
what
trying
you're
to
doing.
cover as many bases as we
Yeah,
can.
no, I love it, because that's the biggest issue is knowing how to.
Yeah, they should contact City Hall.
Yeah.
If you have different,
Definitely
if
need
you have
that.
10, 20 different people trying to contact,
Right.
now, if you got 20 people contact City Hall, then we got 20 people that we can just send one letter to them and say we added these people.
Communications, it's an onion, right? Many layers, you gotta peel them all back and make sure that you're addressing all of it. It's not just one chain of communication, it's multiple. And you close those gaps.
And given emergency situations nowadays, having some way to send out either email and or text blasts to people, and because there's something dangerous happening, or
Yes.
so it just gives us something that we need to work on internally.
Agree.
Thank you.
Can I get is anybody considering Meridian? Okay. Can I get a motion to amend the resolution to insert, let's see. Am I doing the straw poll now?
I mean, it's up
Okay,
to
what
you,
do you-
if you
let's
want to
go
get
around
an
the
idea
table.
of who.
Yeah, let's go around the table. Councilman, Nelson, which way are you leaning?
As far as with service,
Yeah, so we have, Meridian, Republic, and Wisdom.
I'm going with Republic.
Kevin?
Waste management.
Waste management. Republic. Tony?
Waste management.
Councilwoman Shivers?
Waste management. Thank you.
Does anyone want to make a motion to amend resolution 24-21 to insert waste management into?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
We don't need, we don't
We don't need
know,
a
in
vote?
this,
That's just it?
Oh, it's a resolution.
no, it's a resolution, so we don't need a roll call vote period, but right now, we're just voting on actually
So somebody has
amending.
to say it?
Right now, there's a motion to amend the resolution to include waste management where there are currently
Okay.
blanks, right? So we need a voice vote on that, and then once the resolution is, I guess we could make the motion to,
No, we'll just do that.
okay, that's fine.
Voice vote.
You need an all in favor.
All in
Oh,
favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Now roll call vote?
Anyone opposed?
Oh, any opposed?
No.
No,
Okay, so,
No.
and there's no roll call vote ever on a
Okay,
resolution,
no,
so.
okay.
Unless you want it because you think the voice vote is too hard to muddle through. But now that the resolution has been amended, you could call for a motion to approve Resolution 2421 as amended.
Okay, motion to approve resolution number 24-21 as amended.
I make a motion.
Second. I can't have a second, can I? I
You
can't?
can,
Oh,
but I mean,
I
if you're
second.
chairing, you're, I mean,
okay. What?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Oppose? All right, waste management it is. The next item on the agenda, oh, the TDD. So we kind of had a discussion about this before. This is still in the works, maybe. We're not sure what's going on with this. So Sam is gonna give us an update with the Transportation Development District and where we are with that.
Yeah.
It is, I don't know where we are.
Yeah, okay, so if you all remember, I believe it was April, or was it? Yeah, I believe it was April. We passed a resolution that approved the petition to basically get the whole thing going with the TDD so that it could be on the November ballot. Okay, so since that time, well, in every city in the TD, there was like 18, I think, had to pass that resolution to approve the petition. 2 cities did not, and an unexpected city did. So Northwoods did not, so that's a very big deal because they're a sales tax base. And Cool Valley did not. They also have some sales tax. And then Hillsdale did join in, which was kind of a surprise. But so you had Northwoods, Cool Valley are out. Hillsdale is in. So that basically means the resolution that we passed for that petition is no longer the right petition because it doesn't list the correct municipalities. It changes the math of the TDD, what we expected we were going to get. So then Beyond Housing called an emergency meeting, not this past Monday, but the one before that. And they basically said, okay, so we did some math, these people are in, and they basically said it's a wash. And they gave us a written memo, and everybody was supposed to go in and repass the petition. However, when you look in greater detail, and I even brought this up at the meeting, when you look in detail at the new petition and the old petition, none of the numbers make sense in the way that they changed. For instance, with Northwoods leaving and Cool Valley leaving, that's about a $350,000 hit to the sales tax based off what I could find from public information in their financial statements. And they were estimating it was only going to be like $120,000 loss. And even more concerning than that was the street miles. And in the old resolution, they were in miles. And frankly, I thought in the old resolution, I had some questions. I knew our own was slightly overestimated, so I wasn't going to complain about that. But everyone else's, I was like, well, I have no clue. But now they converted them into feet for the new petition, and everybody's changed. We went from 11 miles to 16 miles, and the whole thing. And they said that with Northwoods and Cool Valley leaving, we lost 35 miles, and that's just not right. And so everyone came away from that emergency meeting like, okay, let's pass this petition. I've been following up with Beyond Housing saying, this is, you know, your numbers still aren't right here. And yesterday they emailed me and they admitted that, yeah, our numbers are not right. We're still working to finalize it. Give us some time and wait until we get back to you and we can do an updated petition. Now, if we're gonna get it on the November ballot, I believe we have to pass, everyone has to pass theirs July 9th. So that's when our next meeting is. I just don't think it's gonna be on the November ballot.
And also the person who started off.
Yes,
with
that's
it.
also,
There's been a change in the lead.
yeah,
And
there was
yeah.
a staff member at Beyond Housing, JP, he's no longer with Beyond
And
Housing.
he started the numbers.
And so now these people are taking over.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of a mess, and we were told not even to vote on the resolution because they admitted that the memo that they gave us wasn't right. But basically, the update is two major municipalities are out, Hillsdale's in, and this kind of changes the math on things, how much we don't know yet, and I don't think it's gonna be on the November ballot.
So basically, I just wanted everybody to have an update. We don't even, they just, yeah.
How can they say, so they saying the revenue from Hillsdale is the same as Northwood and Coos Valley together?
Well, yeah, I don't know, and I don't know how junkyards are taxed, because Hillsdale has quite a few junkyards, and I don't know when they sell those auto parts, maybe that does generate a bunch of sales tax, what do I know?
Right.
And their financial statements are not very detailed.
Right.
I mean, that's
So I
Hillsdale.
can't really make heads or tails.
That's Hillsdale.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hillsdale.
so let's go on that.
I'm just being real.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather, let's go on Northwoods the way we would go with Northwoods and Cool Valley. We know what they have. We know,
Yeah.
you know, the corridors of their business.
I think the gist of it is, like my concern is the numbers don't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't wanna
we
put
don't
it on
wanna-
the ballot.
Yeah, we don't wanna lead in with something where we don't really know what we're getting.
Exactly.
You know, because it could say, you know, I think it was like, you're gonna get this much, and then all of a sudden it was like,
That
you're gonna get, yeah, and then what if that changes and it's like, you're only gonna get,
And from the beginning, some of the numbers just haven't made sense to me. I'm like, that's a little too good to be true, and
It was
I
a lot
don't
of money
believe that.
coming to
Yeah.
us, but
Yeah.
I think the idea in general is still a good idea.
Yes, I
And so
agree.
we don't wanna throw the baby out
Right.
with the bathwater.
but we
It's
just,
just gonna-
yeah, we want accurate information.
We want accurate
Yeah,
information.
so.
So it's not gonna, so maybe next April?
Well, I don't know if the people who are leading it at Beyond Housing and the Attorney Armstrong Kings, maybe they're still thinking November. The goal when we, at that last emergency meeting was, we're still gonna push for November. I just don't, personally, I don't see it,
Okay.
so.
You got 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, let's see what they have in 2 weeks, so. All right, new business, resolution 24-26, a resolution of the city of Normandy, Missouri, adding President Pro Tem Yolanda Campbell as an authorized user and signer on all bank accounts of the city of Normandy.
So,
Oh,
Second.
did I make a motion? Oh, you did, oh, okay.
Go already.
Oh, okay. Who was the second?
Second?
Second, all right,
Aye.
No, we don't need a roll call.
all in favor? Any opposed? Thank God, because that took me 3 hours. And I was sick of sitting at this computer. I was sick, I could not.
You okay?
Yeah.
You all right?
You good.
Calm down, that's all I think.
That gives you all the help you
Really
need.
good.
That took a long time.
Unless there's as much help as we can.
That's a lot of clicking, I tell you that. Number 2, discussion of the city council meeting packet delivery. So I wanted this put on the agenda, so this is my issue with the packet. Kiana is the person who delivers the packet, which I greatly appreciate. However, Kiana is a employee who does not have this in her job description. There are some issues that I have with this. 1, it's not in her job description. 2, it's a safety issue, in my opinion, because I have gone home late, and the packet is not in the mailbox, and then the packet is in the mailbox, and sometimes it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So to me, that is not something that a single female should be doing at night. And it is not in her job description. If something happens, like legally, she is still on the clock, and we do not want to have another insurance problem. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy.
I agree.
We never want to have an insurance problem.
Yeah, no, correct me if I'm wrong, she would still be considered like on the.
That would
Oh,
be,
well,
that would be a work contract.
yes,
God
that'd be-
forbid
yeah,
something,
absolutely.
even a car
So,
accident.
Yeah,
so
it'd be
this
work
is, so this is my
Absolutely.
issue with this. It is not her job. It is a safety issue first and foremost. And I think that we need to come up with a better solution of meeting the packet. So I have my own ideas. Would you like to?
We come and get our own packet. I mean, it just need to be, well, I'm sitting at home and I can just come and get it myself. I mean, everybody can get their own packet. But can we, so you deliver it on what, on a Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
Friday, but the goal is Thursday.
Okay. Is there any way they can be ready by Wednesday?
But let me,
Okay.
this is the other conversation that I
Okay, go
had.
ahead.
I think we all are busy people, right? And this is an issue that I have had with the packet for a while. It used to come on a Wednesday and everything, and it was like you had time. I would like to see the packet come out a week before, which would be the Tuesday before, and I would like to see the packet in a cloud type format so that everyone can see what the agenda is, like in the, when you go to your emails, basically there's like a cloud, kind of like a Google Cloud, right? And you can see what the agenda is. Now, we know that the agenda changes and everything like that, and everything's not, if it's a resolution or something like that, it's not always all the way done because Andy has to do stuff, he has to research, blah, 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 ordinances and all that kind of stuff. Getting the packet on Friday and then having to have Saturday and Sunday and then Monday, and typically we all have lives, we all have things to do, right? And this is not our bedtime material. We're not all cuddled up with the packet.
Speak for yourself.
You know, right? I will tell you, I am not cuddled with the packet, right? But you know, you run around, you have family obligations, you have other things that you have to do and everything like that. And typically what I do is I take it to work, I read it, you know, when I'm not done with it. But then the other thing is too, then I have to call, and I know we call Sam and ask him questions about the packet, which means now that you're cutting into like Monday, like sometimes I would spend like an hour asking Sam questions on a Monday when he's trying to get ready for the meeting, which is on Tuesday, which I don't think is the best use of his time either, right? And let's say I'm not the only person that calls, I know, so he's got to field all these other. But if you have a week, then you give people time to like do it at a more leisurely pace. Things change, I know, it's not gonna be the same, this gets off, but for the most part, when we leave the meeting, we know that the stuff that has to have the second reading. Usually, we typically know, this has to have a second reading. The new stuff, you know, it's usually like a discussion or something like that. And sometimes we do it at a workship, right? We have the votes, like we just did, and everything, so.
Excuse me, is it feasible for this to happen?
I would like to just, so we've talked about this, it's totally feasible to have a Tuesday deadline. Now.
It is not going to be final.
Yeah, that's the only thing,
Yeah.
like, so the only things that absolutely, like, I would say it's not feasible for is like the financial report. Right now, and depending on how early in the month the meeting is, department reports may also lag behind. Now, if it's a late second Tuesday, department reports financials probably won't even lag behind. But if it's an early second Tuesday, then financials will lag behind and department reports may lag behind. And then the only other thing I would add, because it's just a matter of us moving up our schedule with ordinances and getting them ready. I would say that amended agendas would be more common, which is fine, as sometimes resolutions pop up. The only thing I'll say, it's not feasible for July meeting, because,
Right, yeah.
so, but we will shoot to get this implemented for August regular meeting.
But the how is
Yeah, so the how, this is how I see the how.
Yeah, right.
Right. Kiana would put the agenda in the drive. What's the drive called?
So I kind of SharePoint, you know, I mean, we could share a link,
Yeah.
to it, and you can review.
So, and then the other thing that, if you have the agenda in this file, the other thing is too, if you want to look back at it as a council member for like, what did we talk about on that day? It's already there, it's electronic, you can look at it and
You
see.
can make notes on it.
Right, you can make notes on it and everything like that. So it would be in the file, and she was somehow, we talked about maybe italicizing or just putting like, tentative, like at the top, so you know it's not the final copy and everything, so everybody, this isn't like the end of it and everything, in the drive. So like you can start reading those things, and as we get new things, it would just go into the drive. When we come however we decide, you're gonna pick up the packet or whatever on Friday. If you wanna pick it up on Friday or whatever, you can come and pick it up on Friday, however we decide that. But the packet will also be at the dais. When you come in, you will have a paper packet, right? We all are used to having the paper, you still get the paper packet. But that packet will be basically, not a living document, but it will be, things will be dropped into it. Right, it'll be finalized when we get to the dais on Tuesday.
What I would say is, here's the goal. So we'll see how this works out. I think it's totally doable. On the Tuesday before, we'll have the agenda and everything that we have ready to go in the thing, and then the things that will follow our amended agendas will update. But once we have all our main reports and the agenda, then we can send out an email saying it's finalized and packets are ready for pickup. If you just like your digital packet, the packet will be here for when you get at the meeting.
Pro Temp Campbell, I'd like to comment on what you just stated, please.
Council,
Go ahead.
you want to? Okay, first you and then Councilman Nelson. Go ahead.
No, I'm
No, you go.
to the board.
He's gonna go. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't know what Miss Tiana's job descriptions are. I've never seen them, but with all clerks, even with St. Louis County being so large, in the job description, it says run errands. That could be going to the bank, going to the post office, going to another municipality. That's all within a job description. And that falls under safety as well. So if you're going to those places, I don't see any reason why the package cannot be dropped off at the home. And if there's an issue with that, have a police officer to bring them to the house. That's been done in the past.
Exactly.
Can I respond to that? Okay, Councilwoman Shivers, just a couple things. In your new elected officials handbook, there's the pay plan in there, and the pay plan has all the job descriptions. But that's just another matter. Just so if you did want to see the job description, it should be somewhere in that binder, in the pay plan. Second, I do agree that
just by memory, Mr. Johnson, does she go to the bank or to the post office or run any other errands?
So that's what I was going to get to next. I agree that it's really not a liability problem.
Right, exactly.
Sure, it's a liability problem. The job description is not a liability problem. I mean, anytime you have someone driving around, and sometimes we get the packets out late, now it's dark out. But the job description is not the source of the liability. There's other duties as assigned. But I think it's just more of a question of what's the most efficient way of doing this. And if there are some council members who still like a packet delivered, especially if we're going to shoot to get the packet out earlier, we can still arrange for packet delivery for those that request it. But if there's ones who don't want it delivered to their house, then we can just have it ready for pickup. That's what
Okay, that's a solution as well. Thank you.
I do recall that we did have police officers drop them off. I don't know if it was a week before the board meeting, but they used to do that. I think, Mr. Evans, were you there?
Yeah, well, I'll say, I mean, and that's fine, and I've heard that before, and in fact, I totally believe it. But, I mean, if we're gonna get the packets out earlier, you know, I go north to go home, I'll just swing by LaCorn. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is, it's just, before, we had a Friday deadline, packet deadline, a lot of times we're pushing it because, you know, it's a deadline, so you use all the time you can get. And a lot of times I would push it into the night, especially during the winter months.
Well, we gotta come here and pick them up. Hey, so be it. I mean, 'cause-
What's the latest you can pick it up?
yeah.
You can pick it up any, if you wanted to, I mean, it's up to you. If you're saying you wanna pick it up, you don't want it delivered, you can pick it up Tuesday morning if you wanted to, like.
That's the earliest.
Yeah, we said, what-
Well, sorry, like Tuesday of the meeting, Tuesday of the meeting.
I was just joking with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing that, if I wanted to pick it up like the week before, or whatever, what's the latest?
'Cause we close at
5:30?
5.
Oh, yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we close at 5.
Okay.
yeah, five is safe. Sometimes if you knock, you'll probably catch someone at 5:30, but.
And I don't mind picking
Well, I'll
up,
pick it up, I can just get it the day before.
I don't mind picking up, you know, Steve, and, because we're right around the corner from each other. If we can pick up each other's packet, that'll be great too.
And then if you wanna do a buddy system where
Yeah.
one person picks up, and then if you live in the same ward, and I'm gonna give it to, yeah.
Maybe y'all come up with-
Yeah,
But we're gonna have it on the call anyway, right?
we're gonna still have it on the
Yeah, there you
days.
go.
Yeah,
Good.
so, is
Very
everyone,
good.
Hey, well,
But
I would
there's-
like to be able to look at it electronically, so that idea of a Google Doc somewhere
Yeah.
would be appealing to me.
and I think it would be good too, I know like, there's a way for you, like I use it at work where you can actually like, I can make a video of like click here and you can actually see the clicks happening and then email it for people that aren't,
Kinda like a Zoom.
yeah, but it's like you're recording your, screen record, that's it. You screen record your, like, click here, do
Right.
this and everything, and then click here and then you see it. So then that could be our instructions if you forget how to access it.
Yeah,
and
we'll
stuff.
see what we can find. I don't wanna go into Microsoft licensing, you guys, that your email licenses are not the full, like, $50 a month licenses, but we can figure out something that we can share.
Well, honestly, any person like you and I have SharePoint.
Yeah.
If we share something to someone
Right.
else, and so they can still view it even without having a license.
Yeah.
You know, so it's still viewable.
But I don't know about, I don't know about the clicking thing that she's talking about, maybe
Oh,
that
no,
isn't.
Oh, it's
recording?
screen
No, it's
record?
It's
You
just
just-
a tutorial, that's what she was asking
Okay.
for. It's like a
You
tutorial.
basically
I
like,
got that.
yeah,
Got it.
you basically say like, this is how you do this, and then like, you just look, the person is just looking at your screen and
I understand.
you're just, yeah, watching it.
Yeah,
Oh, see,
there's several things to it to me. You have an officer come. For instance, predominantly the small petty crimes go up in the summertime because kids are off of school. When the officers used to drop them off,
Exactly.
that used to detour a lot of that because they knew that they were here, there, all over the place. And so the kids are a little bit more calm. So I think it would help the police officers, number one, because when they patrol through there, they may wave, whatever. These kids aren't gonna pay attention. But when they get out of the car, park the car and walk up to someone's door, they're gonna say, I'm not gonna do anything on this street because I seen the police over there all the time. So it really does serve as a deterrent. And I'm not trying to give them more work, but it does work because they did it for 10 years.
Thank you.
Right. Longer than that, Steve.
And, yeah, and I'm not trying to pick on Kiana. I'm not trying to do, she does a great job. But I also worry about the safety aspect, and no one's gonna fool with the police,
yeah.
especially at night.
And I just want to let everybody know, Kiana did not bring this to my attention.
Oh, you didn't do that?
No. This is something that I just don't want Kiana doing.
I mean,
Right.
I know that
I heard
sometimes,
complaining about it.
Yeah. just so everybody, she did not come to me, I just don't think it's a safe thing for her to do. That's just my.
I mean, we come up with something
Yeah.
different, I mean, we don't have a problem.
So let's do it like a, you wanna do a it's not, of course, it's not gonna happen in July, right? So we would have, this would have to be like for August going forward.
Why can't it happen in July?
Because I don't think.
The July meeting is-
It's like in 2 weeks, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah,
You
we got the
okay.
fourth,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Well, I don't think we need to vote. I think I have pretty clear, and Kiana, we have pretty
Yeah.
clear expectation of what we need
Well,
to
some
do.
people said police.
We,
That's why,
I'm not tripping out the police, that's the police.
Well, the-
job.
yeah, that's why I was.
we can send a
Come on,
patrol
let's
down the
let
street.
us know what y'all come up with
But
next
they
time.
always come to my house, because I always
Well,
call.
you know, it's, I think the police have gotten a bad rap from some people on social media lately, and I don't wanna have to give them any more any more stuff,
They need
you
to
know?
do their job, that's all. They don't need to be doing nothing extra.
Okay, so we'll pick up the packets.
Right.
Sounds good? Okay, so
Yeah,
then we'll come up
and
with
if you,
yeah.
you know, can't pick up your packet or you need it delivered, just send me an email and we'll arrange for it.
Yeah,
Especially if we're getting them out earlier, it won't be that big of a deal.
yeah, for sick or something like that, yeah, certainly, all right. So then we'll come up with a plan and then send everybody the final,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And
Sound
no
good?
more green packets,
Yeah,
You
good.
I got
They
so,
might still end up in
I got
the-
so many
the
green
folder.
folders.
You know, I started with 12 and now I have 5.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, I know I got some.
You know one on your side.
It's me, it's the mayor.
You know it's one on the mind,
It's
the
me.
green one you got it, you know I get mine.
But, yeah.
It's me.
Maybe I'll start labeling.
All right, so, can I get a motion to, wait, is it a motion to adjourn or a motion to go into closed session? Motion to adjourn and then a motion to go into closed session? A motion to close session.
I mean, the way we normally do it is we just go into a closed session and we adjourn the meeting from the closed session.
Okay.
It's
So motion to go into closed
kind
session?
of 6 of one, half dozen of the other, yeah.
Motion.
Second, third, yeah.
Motion,
It's right here, second.
Great.
all in favor? All right.
Well, actually, sorry, so closed sessions, we need to state what the Prince Sunshine Law,
Legal.
yeah, for legal, and there
Motion
does
to
need to
go
be a
into
roll
closed
call.
session for legal issues.
For legal, yeah,
Okay.
and then there's a roll call.
Well, if we're only ones in here, do we need to move the other room?
Do we,
No,
how
I don't
will,
think we need to.
turn-
We've
turn
done it
on.
before.
they,
Well,
Cameras on.
I'm gonna turn off.
But
this.
again, we do need the roll call.
We've done it. No, yeah, you actually, you need a roll call for a closed session.
I need a roll call vote.
Roll call.
No Kevin.
Okay, Councilman Jackson,
Yes.
Councilman Saxon.
But we're staying in here. We're staying in here,
Are
Kevin.
we saying it?
Yeah, we're staying here.
Councilman Saxon?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Briere?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Schaefer?
So I was emailing with
Present.
Okay.
last week.
Thank you. Just hang on the line. I'm going to.
Don't hang up.
Yeah, don't hang up, okay?
Like, to stay on deadline. And Rob said, so I reached directly out to Rob because I want to have it. So, he said no need for a special meeting if we move forward on the current timeline. The plan is to file the TDD position.
I didn't give my